Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is Cooking Rules with Jules. My name is Julia Pontanis and I'm here to help you make your kitchen experience not only healthy but incredibly easy too. So today we're going to kick up our skill level just a notch. So don't be intimidated by this recipe because it's actually very simple to execute. We're going to be making a spinach and feta stuffed chicken rollatini. All that means is I have already, for the sake of the pounding of my mallet here, so I have, this is a tenderizer slash mallet. I've taken a 4-ounce chicken breast. I've put it in between a piece of plastic wrap and wax paper, and I have hammered it out flat. So I have now not doubled the size, but I've increased it by probably 25%, so it's nice and thin. So whenever I'm cooking this, it doesn't get burnt on the outside and it cooks all the way through. That way you're not eating raw chicken. So anyways, now that the hardest part is done, a few other things you're going to need for this particular recipe will be, of course, some feta cheese, and then some spinach. I like to use organic, some paprika if you'd like, and then salt and pepper if you wanted to, but I'm going to go minus the pepper this time. The way that we execute this is we're going to first season the chicken, sear it in a saute pan, and then throw it in the oven to bake it. So I've already lined my little baking dish with parchment paper. So let's get this party started. So I'm going to peel back my cellophane and then have my tongs here, or plastic wrap. Be politically correct here, and I've got my chicken. So I'm going to go ahead and season this up. Just a few grinds on each side. Same thing with the paprika. Just going to give it a little bit of a dash here, and then I'll go ahead and kind of pound it in there, so that way it doesn't go all over my cutting board and not my chicken. Okay. Done. Completely easy, right? Step 2, I'm going to give my spinach a really quick saute. So really, technically, I guess we could have heated our pan up first. That way it had plenty of time. And the reason why I want to do this is I want to just wilt it up a little bit, because trying to roll raw spinach is a little bit cumbersome, so we don't want to do that. So I'm going to give my pan here about 3 to 4 minutes to heat up, and then throw down that spinach. All right, my pan is nice and heated, so I'm going to give it just a drizzle of olive oil, not a lot, maybe a half a teaspoon. Going to let that kind of coat the bottom of my pan, and then I'm going to throw in my spinach, and of course season it with a tad bit of sea salt. Of course you don't have to. As far as spinach per chicken breast, I would say that's probably about a half a cup. So I'm going to get a half a cup of spinach in there. I dropped some on the floor. Uh-oh. Give it a nice little grind, and then get this nice and sauteed up. And then just take my pan off the heat real quick, because we're going to go right back in there again with the chicken once everything is stuffed up. So getting my spinach nice and wilted. Basically, that's all we're doing, wilting the spinach. And then getting it right ready to go into the chicken breast. All right, perfect. So now my spinach is sauteed. As you can see, it's really wilted down. I'm gonna go ahead and kill the heat and just remove my pan for a minute. And then I'm just gonna take all the spinach right here and plop it right on top of my chicken breast. And it fits in a nice little package right on top. And then from here, I'm going to sprinkle in just a tad bit of feta cheese. So actually I'm going to get my pan right back on my burner and keep it on a medium heat. Just make sure you don't burn the bottom of your pan, because it's going to go right back into it. So I've got a pinch of feta cheese, and I almost forgot, you're going to need to employ some toothpicks for this one. So I always start from the thin end of the chicken breast, the pointy end, and I just fold it over and then start to roll it. So I'm tucking in my spinach and my cheese. And now I've made like this nice little chicken burrito, right? Just gonna give it a secure with my toothpicks. So they're just going across horizontally. And I'm going to throw down a little bit more olive oil in my pan and then brown each side for about 2 to 3 minutes and then get it into a 350-degree oven. All right, olive oil back into the pan, just enough to coat the bottom, and it's already hot from the spinach. And I'm gonna give this a nice little sear. Here we go. Oh yes, that's the sound I like to hear. This is a really versatile recipe. For example, I've made this one with feta and apricot stuffing before. Sometimes I do spinach, sun-dried tomato, and pancetta, which is Italian bacon, basically, or prosciutto. You could do whatever you feel is nice and creative. So, but I like to try and incorporate some type of fruit, some type of veggie in there. I've also done it with like goat cheese and artichoke. That's been really good too. So this is just kind of a fun way to dress up your chicken breast, because I know it gets really mundane during the work week. And this takes literally no time at all. So don't feel like this is something complicated. It's very impressive when it comes out too. So I'm going to give that a few more minutes and then just give it a toss on each side and then throw it into the oven. Alright, so I went ahead and browned my chicken on all 4 sides. I know it's round, but we'll say 4. So all I did was picked it up and moved it a quarter of a turn every few minutes or so you can see, drop that, it's nice and brown on all 4 sides. So I'm going to go ahead and put it onto my baking dish and get it into the oven for about another 15, I would say 15 to 20 minutes, maybe 12 to 20, just depending on how thinly you've pounded out your chicken. So I'm going to pop this in the oven, and when we're done, I'm going to show you how to cut it up. That way you have those beautiful rollatini slices. Okay, so I pulled my rollatini out of the oven, and it's been sitting on my cutting board probably for a 5 minutes or so, and we call that resting. Like, it's resting because number 1, it's going to be way too hot to cut and serve up, and number 2, it will probably fall apart because it hasn't had time to cool down and really take its shape. So I'm going to remove my toothpicks. As you can see, it held its nice little burrito shape. I'm going to take my knife. I always tuck my fingers underneath so I don't chop them off, and I'm just going to give nice little 1/4 of an inch cuts to my rollatini. And hold it up for you. You can see I have these really fun little filled pieces of chicken with really delicious stuff. So next time you are having dinner guests over, this is definitely a crowd pleaser. It's delicious and super easy to make. I would serve it with some rice if you wanted. You could even do it with roasted potatoes and veggies. Risotto, if that's in your wheelhouse of what to make. I love risotto. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something new. So as always, if you liked it, tell me why. If you didn't like it, tell me why. And please leave comments below. That way I can read and see what you're thinking, if I'm missing any steps and you want to know a little bit more. So anyways, make sure you hit the subscribe button. You'll get to see these recipes pop up in your feed every week, and I can see you soon. Why not, right? Every week on Wednesday, it's a date.